Hello BookTube, I'm Jonathan and welcome to Words in Time. Now in today's video we're going to be talking about Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. So what is the premise for Dark Matter? Well, we follow a man, Jason, who gets abducted, and when he wakes up he appears to be in the same universe. Things appear to be pretty similar, but his wife isn't his wife, his son was never born, and instead of a college professor he is now a celebrated physicist. So the questions become, what's real? What's not real? How did things change? And can he change them back? So I wanted to start off by talking about the science in this book, because it doesn't just include science, it uses science to actually drive forward the narrative of the story. So I don't want to say what all of the scientific concepts are, so as not to spoil anything, but there are some quantum mechanics concepts that I was familiar with before reading the book that didn't really click until I read this book. For context, I was pretty good at science at high school, but I haven't taken a science class since then, and the concepts made sense to me. And that might be because Blake Crouch dumbed them down for us, or it might just be because he communicated them really effectively. I'm no scientist, I can't say for sure, but I can say that it worked for me, so hopefully it works for you and you enjoy them as much as I did. Now, I also want to talk a bit about the pacing, because I'm talking a bit about quantum mechanics and that might be making the book sound dry, but Dark Matter is far from dry. In fact, I would say this is probably one of the most fast-paced books that I've ever read. It has a cinematic quality to it, and it moves like an action thriller, a mystery thriller. It kind of feels a bit like The Bourne Identity meets Inception in terms of the tone. And I believe there are actually talks of this being turned into a series with Apple TV+. So fingers crossed, because I actually think this lends itself really well to an adaptation. So something else about the writing that I wanted to talk about was that fairly regularly Blake Crouch will use this kind of staccato formatting, breaking up sentences and paragraphs. And I want to give you a bit of an example. I'll show you it here. I picked an early page so as not to be too spoilery. I don't know if you could see that, but it reads kind of like, I see the L, it's dark, it's quiet, too quiet for Chicago, someone is coming, someone who wants to hurt me, my heart begins to race, my hands sweat. So I bring this up because this seemed to annoy some people. I've seen a lot of comments online about how Blake Crouch doesn't write full paragraphs, and to be honest, it didn't bother me at all. I actually kind of liked it. It was something a bit different, it helped convey pacing, and your mileage might vary. I wanted to bring it up just because it's a little bit divisive, but personally, I say write your story right to left. Turn it upside down. It doesn't bother me. Tell your story your way. So next, I wanted to talk about the characters. I felt like the main character, Jason, was pretty well defined, and he had some pretty reasonable reactions to the kind of crazy situations that he found himself in. In terms of some of the other characters, I felt like they had varying levels of depth. For example, his wife, Daniela, I felt like we got just enough for me to care about her as an individual, as well as to get invested in their relationship. I think if you're a character-first reader, you're probably not going to find a lot of meat on these bones, but for me, someone that was enjoying the concept-driven narrative, I felt like the characters had enough unique personalities. Blake Crouch gave us enough individual personalities for me to identify with them and get emotionally invested in them as much as I was the story itself. Now, as well as the writing, I wanted to talk about some of the themes in Dark Matter, because something else that I enjoyed as well as watching Jason go through this mind-bending journey was the thematic journey. The same emotional questions that Jason has to face, I ended up asking myself, because the technical ideas have personal implications. I think this book really made me think about the way I view time and choices and how I can sort of prioritize and maximize the things that I really value to me. So overall, as you can probably tell, I love this book. I think it should have a rather wide appeal. I think if you're into sci-fi, you're really going to like the big ideas. And if you're not so much of a regular sci-fi reader, I think you'll still enjoy the mystery aspects, the thriller aspects. I'm really into sci-fi, obviously, and I love this book. I recommend it to my dad, and he picked it up and read it. He's not much of a sci-fi reader, but he enjoyed it too. I don't know if he liked it as much as I did, but he read it and he liked it, so there you go. I think overall, I'm going to give Dark Matter a 9.5 out of 10. I'm really, really high on this book. There's a couple of teeny minor character issues and some plot conveniences, but that doesn't matter when you have a high concept novel that really executes well on that concept. This book had me thinking about it for days afterwards. I still think about it all the time, so hopefully it lands for you too. So there you go, guys. That's my thoughts on Dark Matter. Let me know in the comments if you've read it, if you enjoyed it. I've also read Recursion by Blake Crouch, so the review for that will be coming in the next week or two as well. So, as always, guys, I really appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe, and stick around for more sci-fi content coming soon.